Hey y'all, this is Bad Al again with another Star Wars Battlefront 2 related video, this time going over ZeroMunge. ZeroMunge is a build tool that was created by Marth some years back, and I've updated it, adding some new features, and I wanted to go over those with you. Okay, so if you haven't used ZeroMunge before, this is what it looks like. When you first open it for the first time, it will prompt you for the executable for Star Wars Battlefront 2. Once you set that, you'll be presented with this UI. And the next thing that you would want to do is to add a project, which we can do like this. And go to select folder, and this populates the file list with the Munge files that it's going to call when we click the run button. Over here on the far left, we see the process in the copy column. If a check mark is by the process option, it's going to actually call Munge, or it's going to call that batch file when we go to run it. If the copy is checked, then it's going to copy the files generated by that Munge file to the staging folder, which is basically the add-on folder location for the mod that we're working on. If for some reason you don't want to add all of the products of that Munge, you can specify which ones to copy here. In addition to the run button, which calls Munge, we also have, well, what calls this batch file. We also have the clean button, which when we press the clean button, these Munge files have in their folders, they have an equivalent clean file. And so if we call clean, we're going to call those clean files instead. Okay, let's take a look at some of the new features that I added. Under the Actions menu, these actions up here near the top correspond to stuff over here. Then we also have Open Battlefront 2 log or BFront 2 log. That opens in the preferred editor, which is set in the preferences. Launch Debugger, launch Zero Editor, launch Battlefront 2, open the game folder, open the project folder, launch the game in PPSSPP, and launch the mission in the debugger. I'll go over this launch mission in debugger in a little bit, but I'll show you basically right now the configuration for those different items. It's in preferences. So this is some UI preferences in this dialog that we can set, and then we can also have these paths point to the executables and folders that we want to set up for our development environment here. So we have the game exe, the debugger exe. If you want to use PPSSPP to help you write, or if you're doing PSP mods, you can set that here. Your preferred text editor. We'll use this to open up a few different files, and it'll also there's an option to open up the folder in your text editor. So if you do have a text editor that handles opening folders, then you should use that, like Visual Studio Code does well, and Notepad++ does well too. You're also your preferred Zero editor, and the location of the mod tools. I've also added a button that checks the support of console munging. I've already got it, but if you don't, it'll prompt you to create the files that we can use for console support. Let's take a look here. So if you want to launch Zero Editor, it also will launch with F10, but there's a menu option. Up here we have a context menu to open up the project folder in your chosen editor. We'll do that. I've got Visual Studio Code configured. And it's opened it up for us. Okay. What else? Oh yeah, open up a command prompt. Staging folder, open project folder. I won't do those now. I'll leave that to your imagination, what those end up looking like. In addition to these features, I've also added this alternate UI, which is available under this menu or the F12 shortcut. I've been working on ZeroMunge for a little while, and I never really got it quite as usable for console until I added this screen right here. So this one has the platform selection as is also in the menu. We have, when we choose Xbox, we also have this FTP script button, and we can use that to make scripts to transfer our files over to the Xbox if we choose to. We could also just use WinSCP if you don't want to bother with making an FTP script. Kind of styled after the ZeroMunge tool with these checkboxes and these drop downs for side and world. In addition to those familiar things, we also have this override command option here. And so what this will do is when we initialize this alternate UI, it'll populate this combo box here with the batch files that are in our build folder. And we can choose one of them and then check this box and run it. We won't do that right now, but yeah, that's an option. Well, maybe we will. Okay, well, not this one. It's not as interesting. This one is for my Xbox setup. I have a batch file that'll call my click to merge alternate add-on batch file somewhere else, and so it does log the different lines from what would be on the in the terminal into this log window right here, and it tells you when it finished the job. Normally that's after Munge, but now also it's after this execution of this batch file. Let's take a look at some optimization in workflow for, let's change a mission. Let's see here, let me open up a mission that I've worked on. Okay, let's do, okay. So this is a mission that it's not on the PSP, but it's basically inspired by PSP, Imperial Enforcer. And so let's take a look at this launch mission and debugger feature. This feature is this feature consists of basically writing an ADME file or an ADME script and placing it at this specified location here, and it will run some code that will automatically launch the mission. This is code contributed by Anakin, so thank you to Anakin for that code. Let's launch this one here. Oh, actually, let me make this change. Save that one. And over here, if we specify only missions in these checkboxes here, we're only going to munge the mission. Normally, when you munge missions, that's part of common, and so you would, go through the Munge process for in-game and common and core, but there's a batch file that Munge's missions only that um, we end up using in this case. And this is contributed by Tiancom, so thank you Tiancom for this feature. So let's see how fast it is. Okay, made that one change and it's done. And so then now our workflow is we just press this and it'll launch us into that mission we just modified. Okay, start out as the sniper like we just changed it. Let's change it back now to see how fast that workflow is. Okay, we'll change this. Click run, done Munge, launch. There it is. That was quick. And so another feature that I wanted to show was the add mission feature, and we can use that either if we're using the alternate UI or the normal base UI. And it's under the tools menu. It'll prompt us for the mission name, and then we'll enter something. Let's just go. Let's do that. And then it also mentions what it's doing in the log here as well. It says it updated the mission rec. It wrote the corresponding or the companion rec file for the mission, and then it wrote the file that we specified, and then it opened it up in our configured preferred editor. It lets us know that we should update the adme. And so this, I added this feature because I don't like adding missions. I know there's it's like three parts. You got to update the mission rec, you got to add the rec file for the mission, and then you got to add the Lua file for the mission too. So this makes it so you basically just fill out the mission Lua file. So that's a nice time saver. One other thing that I wanted to go over just briefly is the FTP helper form. So we have this form right here that I developed to help us create scripts to FTP files over. And you navigate to the location that you want to use as the base for where you want to copy the files from. And then you got to make sure that all this data down here under the destination is filled out properly. Check off some, let's say we just want to do mission and core. Let's do it, and we just generate that. And then it'll tell you down below here, okay, it saved the FTP copy script to this location, and then it saved the batch file to this location. That is that is basically the features that I wanted to go over. Now we have a couple other things that I wanted to mention. I put some links in here for the Game Toast forums, something that I often visit to do some research or ask questions. Also, I put in the Game Toast GitHub webpage, as well as this GitHub repo that Marth, also by Marth. This is the Lua API. This is something that I refer to a lot, so I put a link in here to that as well. Well, I don't want to make this video any longer, and I'll end it here. So, well, I hope you guys enjoy using ZeroMunge, and hopefully it ends up improving workflow. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.